I made a mock-up for a spooky dungeon scene for a fake Game Boy game based on this little guy. I'm going to walk you through the process for that, and at the end of the video, I'll let you know what one of the main character designers on Skyrim and Fallout thought about it. For real. Hey guys, I'm Andrew Robinson of Robinson Pixels. I was on Instagram the other day when I saw this adorable skeleton. Turns out, this was part of a Draw This in Your Style challenge by Jonah Lobe, who designed the Skyrim Dragon and also works on the Fallout games. Jonah is making a graphic novel called Quiet Level 1, and this challenge was to bring support to his Kickstarter for the graphic novel. And I wanted to do this challenge, but it was due the day after I found it. So no time to waste, it's pixel time. This would be a Game Boy mock-up at 160 by 144 pixels, with only 4 colors involved. The contest rules were pretty open. I just had to draw the skeleton, whose name is Quiet, doing something. I decided to draw Quiet exploring a dungeon alongside this little sidekick, the narrator worm. Now, after I got the character shapes close enough, I drew in this giant circle as the torchlight. It's a good start, but I wanted the light to fade out. So I made a copy of the circle in green, just so I could keep track of it, and shrank it down. This would be the brighter light. For that back layer, I erased it with a dithering brush. The idea was that the light would be fading to black, but it's not fading the way that I wanted it to. I used a mid-tone gray to draw another dithered layer between the two, to more gradually fade out that light. I hand drew this curve so it would be a little imperfect, like torchlight. Now I like the way this fades to black. But there's something in the darkness. Spooky dragon eyes. I don't know why it's being a vampire. Or the start of spooky dragon eyes. I'll detail them later. Speaking of details, I went ahead and turned these shapes into actual characters. I just had to focus on giving Quiet a belly, which is so funny to me for a skeleton, and the narrator worm needed its stubby little nub arms. Throw in a doorway behind them, and we've reached a checkpoint. This is where we check on the art and point out what we need to do. Now, obviously it's not a dungeon yet, so we need to do that, and the colors are just way too harsh. It's not good on the eyes, and I really want to impress Mr. Skyrim guy. So let's dungeon this dragon. Let's put the dragon in a dungeon. We're gonna make a dungeon scene now. Now, Pixaki, the app I draw with, has a built-in Game Boy color palette, so I replaced all the colors I already had with those. As for the wall, I started pretty basic, with bricks that are 24 by 16 pixels that I duplicated all over. I made sure to use a lighter color than Quiet's outline. See, for background elements, you want to make sure it doesn't conflict with the foreground, especially when it's something as complex as bricks. To make the foreground bricks stand out, they get dark colors and outlines, with an extra highlight for more clarity. I decided the image would be less busy if the next layer of ground tiles was much larger, so they're twice the size. Add in some weathered dots, and now we've reached another checkpoint. The characters need 2 things. 1, for you to subscribe if you haven't yet. Hee And 2, to actually have a goal in this room with the dragon, amp up those stakes. And also it doesn't look video gamey enough yet, so let's make it game. Alright, so for the goal, Quiet and the worm have happened upon a treasure chest. That's what the dragon is guarding. I honestly thought this was gonna be one of the easiest parts, but my brain kept breaking on how to make it not look flat. I ended up curving the top inwards to imply depth, and I highlighted the left side of each of the metal components. That helped it to look, shiny and a little more 3D, and I also added a little shadow on the right. And to really gamify this thing, I added UI elements along the top of the screen for health and items. Because Quiet's carrying a torch, that's equipped right now. I added in 2 extra slots because it looks like in the graphic novel, Quiet will eventually get a sword and shield, so maybe those could go there. I decided Quiet has collected 1 diamond, since the graphic novel is called Quiet Level 1. The diamond kinda sucks at first, until it doesn't. All I had to do was make it a little wider towards the top and render it a little better, and it's like night and day. After a few more finishing touches, it's time for the reveal. As for what Jonah Lobe thought about it, I'll throw his message up on the screen here. You can see he's a really nice guy. Honestly, it's not like he was gonna say anything mean, but I'll add that he did DM me directly as well, and he asked if he could use my picture. Obviously I said yes, and it's already been included in an email to all the Kickstarter backers. So like, that's totally rad. If you wanna check out another art challenge I've done, make sure you check out the one I did on the Nokia Art Jam. Okay, bye. And two,